Hello and welcome to this podcast. My name is Emma and this is a podcast where I talk about my knitting projects. Today I have a lot of things to show you and to share with you. I've got some knitting, of course, some sewing and just a tiny bit of ceramics. So let's start. So I'm going to start with the finished objects, and the first one is the one that I'm wearing, and it's a dress that I sewed. I showed it to you in the last podcast episode, and it was still work in progress because I had only done the top of it, and now I finished it. Maybe I can insert a video of me wearing it, a full video, because you can't see everything here because I'm too close to the camera, but yeah, I'm really happy with it. So this is the Myosotis dress from Douro, and that's it. I don't know what to say about it. This is the third one that I'm making, and I made the first side, and the one modification that I made is that I lengthened it a little bit, just 2 centimeters I think, so not much, but because the first one that I made was a little bit too short. But the first one that I made was in cotton, in gaze, double gaze, and so it's very light, and so it goes, I think it goes up a little bit, and so it made it shorter than what I expected. And this one I made it a bit longer, but it's way longer than my first one. So I could have done the right length and it would have been okay, but I'm okay with that. And I remember that in the notes that I took from my first one, I said that I wanted to make a full bust adjustment, just to add a bit more room for the top of my for my bust, and which is okay like this, but I think if I had a little bit more room it would be just a bit better. And also I think that I'm going to add an elastic at the back here, just here, so it can be like this here, as it's already gathered, so it's gonna add like, it's gonna, how do I say that, it's gonna be like not so large around the waist, and what else, yeah, that's it. And an elastic, because otherwise if I make the waist, there's no opening on the side or at the back, so if I make the waist smaller I won't be able to pass it through my shoulders and my bust, so I can't just make it smaller. But if I add an elastic it's gonna be okay, I think. I haven't tried that yet, but I've been wearing it like this, and it's very, very nice to wear that dress. It's very light, it's very comfortable, it's flowy, so it's perfect. I really like it. So that's it for this project, and for everything else it's gonna be some knitting, except for the ceramic part. So let's start with the finished objects. So the first one, I'm going to take my notes here. So the first finished object is a pair of slippers here. So this is a pattern, this is only the first one. I couldn't find the second one. I don't know where I put it, and I wasn't going to look for it for an hour because I just had to show you one. Anyway, so those are the double slippers by Sandra Garn, and I made them with Drops Alaska. I made the size 40 to 42, and and it said that I needed 5 balls. I used exactly 4. I have like 3 grams left, I think. And so I already showed it in the last episode, but if you don't know it, you knit it like this. You start here, you start knitting in the round, but I did a Judy's Magic cast on, so I don't have to sew anything at the end. We knit this, then we knit 1 foot, then the second foot, and then we put 1 foot inside the other, and then we felt them in the washing machine, and that's it. So since it's not felted yet, it's still really big, but those are for my dad, and I want to felt them with him so they can fit perfectly his feet and he can wear them while they're still a little bit damp, so it's perfectly like his foot shape. So the first modification that I made was the Judy's Magic cast on, to cast on the stitches. Then my dad has a very thin ankle, and so I made less rows here to fit a small ankle, but in order to have the right length at the end, I added 2 less rows here, and I added 2 rows to the foot. And also I did 2 less rows on the second foot, so that's the one that is going to go inside the inside, and it's a bit smaller so it can fit perfectly in it. And I see my dad in a few days, and so I'm going to be able to felt the slippers with him and insert a video of the finished slippers before posting this video. So that's it for those ones. And the next finished object that I have, I don't have it with me, but I will put a photo on the screen, and it's the Sophie scarf for my son that I made with, taking my notes, with the Concept Cotton Merino Craft from Katia, and this yarn is discontinued. And I don't have it with me because my son is wearing it today. He wanted to wear it, and as I said in the last podcast, it's still a bit chilly in the morning, and especially on the bike, so he wanted to have something around his neck. And I'm so happy with the yarn, and I have this left exactly here. So this is perfect. I just kept it to show it to you, but I weighed the yarn, and so I stopped in the middle, and then started the decreases, and my son was so happy. He found it. I didn't give it to him, it was on the couch. I didn't put it aside yet, and he found it, and he was like, "Oh, my scarf!" and he wanted to wear it when it was really hot outside, but he wore it and he was sweating with it. But anyway, he was really happy, so I'm glad. And the last finished object that I have, and I'm so happy with this one. I feel like I'm rushing a little bit into everything, but those are projects that you've already seen in the, well, maybe you haven't, but that I've already talked about in the last few podcasts. So I don't want to spend too much time saying the same things again. So I'm going a bit quick with that because the next ones are new. So yeah. So this is the Sumac Pullover by Orlane Sucche, or Tête Bêche. And I finally finished it. I'm so happy. So it's completely finished. I blocked it, and yeah. So let me just talk a little bit about the pattern, then I'll put it on so you can see how it looks like. So it's a rustic yarn. It's not a brand or anything. I put it on a nylon from a woman who was spinning it, and I hand dyed it because it was a bit like cream, but going towards the yellows, and I didn't really like the color, so I dyed it. And the pattern, it's a pattern that is knitted top down. Then we pick up the stitches for the collar, and it's a raglan jumper. And that's it, I think. It took me so long to finish it because I had to start it 3 times, because I started it with the yarn and dyed. Ripped it back because I didn't like it, dyed the yarn, and then started again. It was way too big, my tension wasn't like right anymore, so I had to remake a swatch to see the gauge, changed the needles, restarted it, stopped because I didn't have enough yarn that I had dyed some more yarn, and started again. So I think I started it in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a long time ago. And what else? The yarn, I didn't expect it to grow that much, but the yarn, it grew after blocking. So the sleeves are too long now, when I thought that they were going to be a bit too short, which is okay. I roll them up like this, and the ribbing was too long to my taste anyway, so like this it's okay. And what else? I think that's it. Oh, the yarn softened too with blocking. It softened a lot. It was really dry, and it's very drapey now, I think. So everything grew, width-wise, length-wise. But it's okay. I like it to be oversized, especially since it's quite flowy now and drapey. It's not really stiff anymore, so it's okay. I think I added an elastic to the collar too, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe I am. Maybe not to this one. No, not to this one, sorry, I'm saying something wrong, but here it is. So as you can see, it's quite oversized, but what I like about it is that it's oversized on here, like it's around my body, but not under the arms. I don't have too much fabric here, so I can put a coat on top of it, and this is perfect. Yeah, I think like when I finished it and wore it, I wished that this top panel here was going a bit further down. I needed the smallest size, and I think that this is the difference, because I feel like in the other sizes it's a bit bigger. But yeah, I think that if it went like down here, it would maybe have looked better, which is something that can be easily modified, but I just didn't realize it when I was knitting it. And yeah, I haven't worn it yet, but I'm really, I don't know, it feels comfortable. I think I'm gonna keep it for a little bit. Maybe not for too long, because I'm going to be too warm with it. But yeah. And I think that's it for this one. I don't have much more to say. Oh yes, but well, I don't know if it's really important, this information, but it grew a lot when blocking, but I did stretch it because I thought that it was a bit too small on top here, around the upper bust, and because I made it a little bit too tight. And yeah, it is for the arms too, so I think that's also why it grew, even if it was a non-superwash wool. I don't know, it may have been. Anyway, this is it for this jumper. And the last finished object that I have, And it's not knitting, but it's ceramics, but I wanted to show them to you because I'm so happy about them. And those are, I'm gonna show them to you one by one. And the second one, with my signature underneath it. If you watched my summer vlogs, well, summer vlog, the first one, you may have seen them. I hadn't finished them yet because I didn't put the glaze on, but since then I put the glaze on top of it and fired it in the kiln, so they're done, and I love them. I love them so much that I'm making more of them, but bigger ones. And yeah, I just wanted to show them to you. And I'm gonna take off this jumper because I'm a little bit too warm. And that's it for the finished objects. Now for the works in progress. So in the last episode, I told you that I made a swatch with the brushed alpaca silk from Drops that I had massage and that I wanted to knit something with it, and I found the Cumulus blouse, I made the gauge, and I thought that I would start to knit it once I was done with the Sumac pullover. Once I was done with it, I started the Cumulus blouse from Petiteknit, and here it is. I feel like I've made quite a lot of progress, and it's quite fast. And yeah, I put the sleeves on hold, and I think that I'm going to finish, this is the second ball that I'm knitting with, and I think that when I finish this one, I'm going to knit the I-cord around the neck, so I know how it sits on my shoulders and I can do the right length both for the body and for the sleeves. And I will knit the sleeves after the collar and then finish the body. I think I like to do it this way. And yeah, I'm knitting the smallest size, and I think that's it. What else? I didn't do any modifications, so I don't really know what to say about it. I'm quite happy about the fabric that it makes. I think it's gonna be lightweight but really warm with the alpaca, and I love the color. I can't wait to wear it. I don't think I have anything else to say about it. I'm never really talking about the needle size that I'm knitting with because, well, it can be different for everybody. I'm quite a loose knitter, so I always have to go down some needle sizes, so yeah. That's it. I did cast this on knowing that I was doing the beginning would be a bit like I would have to think a little bit about it and maybe look at the pattern, but it's just basic raglan increases, and we increase for the neck opening, like the v-neck, and the raglan increases both at the same time, but it's really easy. So I didn't have to look at anything. I put I don't know how this is called. Where you have like a stitch marker and you have different markers here, and this I put it like if I knit the first round, I'm putting it here, the second round, third round, etc. So I knew that where I was and which increases I had to make. So this is my first work in progress, and So I thought that I would start it after finishing the Sumac pullover, and when I was still knitting the Sumac pullover, I went through my stash and again took some yarn, made some swatches, and once I finished the second sleeve, I said, okay, now I can make a second swatch, which is what I did. And I realized that I was exactly on gauge to make the tip top tank from Emily Bolduan, I don't know how to pronounce it, which is just a basic tank top for a decay weight yarn. And I started it. So this one is bottom up. So I thought it was a good idea to start this one and the Cumulus blouse at the same time, so I would have some knitting in the round with this one, with a bit of thinking, which didn't happen with the Cumulus blouse, but I thought I would have for the top part. And once I arrived at the armholes for both, I would change and I would have some knitting in the round with the Cumulus blouse and some thinking with this one for the top part. So I always had an easy project, just knitting it around in stock and stitch. Didn't have to think about anything. But yeah, I just, the only thing, like kind of design thing with this one is that on the side it has some purl stitches here on both sides, and that's it. And I liked this one. I looked for a long time on Ravelry to find a tank top that I liked, because I wanted to have the straps large enough so it doesn't show the bra straps, and I didn't want a Ni-cord which is too thin. And so it took me a bit of time to find this pattern, and I found the thinner version. So she has a fingering weight version that I do want to make, but for this yarn it was a decay weight version, and it's perfect. Oh, I'm knitting it with Belle from Drops, and this is do I have the, no, I don't have the tag with me. This is made with cotton, linen and viscose, so it's still some synthetic, there's still some synthetic bits in it, but I think it's gonna be nice with the cotton and linen in it. It's quite heavy, especially compared to the Cumulus blouse. But anyway, and yeah, that's it. I don't think I have anything else to say about this one. I'm knitting the first size, and I'm knitting the long version. There's a cropped and long version, and I'm knitting the long one. The cropped is really cropped, and I didn't want that. It's gonna make the same length. It's gonna be the same length as my Sophie tee from Audrey Borrego that I made and that I wore in the past few days, and I thought it was really the right length for me, so I'm knitting the same length for this one, which is the long one. And that's it for this work in progress. Next one. Next and last one. And this one I absolutely love it. This is the Old Folk doll from Sandra Magalhães, and it's still work in progress, so maybe I can show it to you. So this is a doll that I'm making for my son, and I also made the two legs with the feet, and it should look something like this. Like this. And it's gonna have some arms here and just two eyes, and that's it. And I'm knitting it in Daisy from Drops, and I couldn't find some other yarn that had the right gauge that was easily available for me. And yeah, I did put some wool in it, some like, I can't find it, it's like, it goes from the top here to here. It's not even corded, it's just wool from a sheep that I had, that a friend sent me. And then I put some like other bits of yarn in here like this, so I've got some like bits of manchelope that I wouldn't be able to do anything with it, like the yarns that the ends that I wove in and then that I cut from my Sumac pullover. Anyway, I put that in here, and since I didn't have any more wool to put in for the second leg, I put some fabric in it, and like some really small scraps of fabric like this, and it makes it a lot harder. This is really soft, like, you know, it's really soft. This one is really hard, but it's for the legs, so it's okay. But I didn't realize that it would make such a big difference. But yeah, and if you watched a few episodes ago, I can't remember which podcast it was, but I made some clothes for this doll, and do I have it here? It's actually they're actually on my son's doll right now, but they're too small for his plastic doll, so they're gonna fit this doll, which is gonna be way nicer. And yeah, oh, about the pattern, it's really easy to follow, as all of Sandra's designs. And what I really liked, I didn't realize it at the beginning, but it's written to be knitted flat or in the round, as we prefer, which I really like. So I started with the feet, with the legs. I didn't realize that there was an in the round option, so I knit them flat. And when did I realize that I could knit them in the round? When I was knitting the body. So I did both the legs flat, sewed them here at the back and underneath, which was really easy to do. But and then I started knitting the body, and I was knitting back and forth, and I was like, this is a circumference where I could knit it in the round. And I looked at the pattern and it was written for it. So I followed the pattern in the round for this one, for the body, and I'm going to do the same for the arms. And that's it. And my son already wants to play with it, so I think he's gonna like it. And that makes me happy. I think that's it for this one. And yeah. Now about my plans, because I have a lot of plans. Knitting and sewing. And I'm looking here because I have everything here. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is a plan that I've already talked about in the past, because I've been wanting to do it for quite a bit of time. And it's the Stockbridge cardigan by Ysolda Teague. And I bought the yarn for it in October last year. And I caked it up. It looks like this. And this is the skein. I've got 3 of them. And the yarn is Cocon from Maison Septembre. And it's 75% merino wool and 25% silk. So I thought it was going to be really soft, really nice. It's not. It's gonna be okay, but it's not as I imagined it. I made the swatch. Here it is. I had to make 3 swatches to meet the gauge. I had to go down quite a few needle sizes. I think this one was on 2.25mm needles. So yeah, and it's a fingering weight yarn, and it's a cardigan. And we need 1,200 meters, I think, 100 meters. So we need quite a lot of yarn, so it's gonna take a long time to knit it. So I was kind of putting it aside, not starting it straight away because I wasn't sure. After I made the tomboti, which took forever, I didn't want to start straight away another fingering weight garment, especially with sleeves. But now I'm ready for it, I think. So I made the swatch, but I want to start it once I finished either the Cumulus blouse or the tip top tank, but I don't want to have the 3 on my needles because it's going to be too much, especially that since that I'm knitting this. So this will be on 2.25mm needles. This one is on, let me check, 3.25, I think. Yeah, 3.25, and this one 3.5. So I don't want to start a third one with small needles like this, and so I'm gonna wait, and when I finish one of the 2 I'm going to start this one. So that's my first plan. I've already talked about it, and this is a really basic cardigan, and it's supposed to replace a cardigan that I already have, and it's a store-bought cardigan made with viscose, so not wool. So that's why I wanted to replace it, and I thought that with wool and silk it would have been perfect. The other one that I have is in viscose, so it's really soft on the skin. This one, when I put it here, it's a bit itchy, like it's not soft at all, so I'm a little bit scared. I don't understand why, because with merino wool and silk it should have been. Anyway, if you're sensitive, I don't recommend this yarn. And then I went to my local yarn store because I wanted to buy some yarn to make the, let me check my notes because I wrote down everything, to buy more Douro from Rosários 4, so this one. And I wanted to make the Vilma top from Gregoria fibers. I already talked about it, I wanted to make it, and I bought some yarn to make the other vest that I wanted to make from Orlane Sucche. And I wanted to find this one, but and I also went to my local yarn store to buy some linen yarn, but I'm going to talk about that afterwards. But anyway, and they didn't have enough of this one left, and she's not gonna buy more until at least the end of the summer. So I thought about it, and I wanted to make the Marit, how is it called exactly? The Marit cardigan by Kristin Drysdale. I think it was published in Line magazine a few years ago, and it's a very pretty cardigan, and so it's a color work cardigan that is sticked, and I've wanted to make it for a long time. It's a fingering weight yarn that is used. I think it's Teague wool that I can't find anyway, so I had to, it took me forever to find the right colors, but I found them with this one. So I decided that instead of doing the Vilma top from Gregoria fibers, I was going to make this one. And let me show you the colors. And I think it's gonna be so beautiful. So I said that I didn't want to start a fingering weight yarn cardigan. Now I want to make two. But anyway, this is the base, and I have a fourth one, but I already had it. And yeah, she only had, I took the 3 that were left of this color. Although she had some other colors that were kind of like, they were beautiful, but I was thinking about making the Vilma cardigan in another color. I wasn't sure about it. I thought about making it with this color that I really like, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I only bought the yarn for this cardigan, and I'm going to make some swatches soon. So once I finish the second work in progress that I have on my needles, the second top that I have, I will be able to cast on a second cardigan, and I'm so excited about it. And the last acquisition that I have with yarn is, so I went to my local yarn store also to buy some linen yarn. So I wanted to buy the Alfama from Rosários 4, and I wanted to buy the Bêche yarn to make the outline tank by Jessie Made. I don't know if we pronounce the D or not. But she only had one beige left and wasn't gonna order more until the end of the summer. But she had a very bright pink, which I was never going to wear, and she had also this kind of like grey that goes a bit like to purple color. I didn't see that in the store, but like kind of like dark grey. This, and this is 100% linen. This is Alfama. And this is the colorway 35, and it's 100% linen and 50 grams, 125 meters. And so this is a Portuguese wool, Portuguese yarn, and this one is a 100% wool. I didn't say anything, but it's 100% organic wool from Portugal too. This is the same print. And when I came back home, I was like, do I really want to make the tank top with this dark color? And I was going to go there to see if she had more colors, and not only the beige. I wanted to make the tank top in beige, but I wanted to see if I could find more colors to make the Darjeeling blouse from Trust the Mojo, but she didn't have any other colors, so I put this one. And when I came home, I was like, I'm not gonna do the tank top. I should do the Darjeeling blouse with this color. This is gonna be perfect. I have to swatch before because I'm not quite sure if it's the right if I'm gonna get the right gauge with this yarn, but I have to swatch and I'll see. And at the local yarn store, she told me that when she orders more yarn, she can order more colors too. And I told her that I wanted the 47, I think it was. It's this like really, it's a dark rusty color, dark rust, I say. A bit like dark caramel, dark rust. Yeah, it seems really beautiful. Haven't seen it in real, just on the computer, but it seems so beautiful. So she's gonna order some of this color too, so I will be able to buy it at the end of the summer. And yeah, and the last thing that that I saw at my local yarn store, but I didn't buy it because I didn't know what to do with it. Well, two things. The first one was a yarn that was 100% alpaca decay weight, and it was so beautiful. It was like this rich brown. Thought I was going to find a pattern to make it before buying it. And the second one was really thin lace. It was 1,200 meters for 100 grams, and it was 85% alpaca and 15% linen, which it was so beautiful. So I want to find some patterns for that. I thought that if I held the second yarn triple, it would make a fingering weight yarn, so it could be okay. Or I can hold it with another yarn, which can be also beautiful. That's what the lady at the store told me that she made, and that it was really beautiful. So I have to think about it, but I didn't buy them because I didn't know what to do with it, and I didn't want to buy like too few skeins or too many. So that's it for the knitting plans. And about the sewing plans. Since I finished this dress, I wanted to make something else, and I really need some shorts, and so I wanted to make some linen shorts. So I'm still not quite sure about it, but I've got the pieces for the Darjeeling shorts, which is a pattern from Septembre magazine. And maybe I can put a picture on the screen so you know what I'm talking about. And this is the fabric that I have. So I'm gonna make, I have like different fabrics, but the first one that I'm gonna make, this is with linen and cotton. And this is like a rusty orange fabric. And the second one that I have is this one. And this is 100% linen. And so I think that I'm going to start with this one, maybe, to see if I have a lot of it. I have 3 meters, so I've got more than enough. But I'm still not quite sure about the pattern. I think I would have liked a very basic one, a bit flowy, a bit large on the thighs, and with an elastic waistband, maybe. This one has everything. It has a zipper fly, a real waistband, and it has 2 elastics, but small ones on the sides. So I think it makes it easier not to have the perfect size, and yeah, so I think it's gonna be okay. But I'm gonna make this one, but I'm still looking for a pattern, like a really basic pattern with pockets, of course. But I can add that easily if the pattern doesn't have any. But I wanted to, yeah, find a really basic one. So if you have any idea of a sewing pattern, basic one. I thought about taking a pajama pattern to make the bottom, but I think it's gonna look like pajamas. I'm not sure, maybe it depends on the fabric that I choose. So quite unsure about it. I already cut all the pieces on the paper for the Dorian short anyway, but I think I'm gonna try that, and if I find another pattern, or if you have any idea of some shorts, I would be really glad, because I don't know, I can't seem to find any that I really like. So those are my plans, and I'm really happy that I'm sewing again. And yeah, making something, it takes a bit of time to sew, but I'm so happy with the results, and I do need some shorts. So I have holes in, like, they're really worn out, the ones that I have, so I do need some. Anyway, so that's it for everything. I talked about everything that I had, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you either in the next podcast or in the next vlog, I'm not sure. But I'll see you in the next video. Bye!